What's going on, Knicks fans? In today's show, we're going to get into 5 Julius Randle replacements if the Knicks trade him. But first, I want to start it off with a question because I'm always curious, what teams do Knicks fans hate? For me, it was the Miami Heat when they had LeBron and D. Wade, but now it's the Brooklyn Nets because of KD and Kyrie. But I want to hear from you. What NBA team do you hate the most right now? Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we're going to break down a scenario. If the Knicks trade Julius Randle, which I hope they do, who are going to be the players to replace him? Is it someone on the roster? Would they have to sign a couple players in free agency, or could they make a trade? We've got 5 players that I think could step in and take the seat of Julius Randle, but first, let's break it down as to why I think the Knicks need to move on from him. He wasn't the same player this year as he was last year. Last year he shot 41.1% from deep. This year, he shot 41.1% from the field. That just can't happen. Randle this year, his raw stats of 20 points per game and 9.9 rebounds, that looks great. But when you shoot 41% from the field and 30% from three, you're just an inefficient player and didn't play a winning brand of basketball. On top of everything that happened in his mental capacity that affected the team, the thumbs down incident where he pretty much told Knicks fans to F off. Then he got in 2 fights. He had a career-high 12 technical fouls. He was texting in post-game press conferences when being asked questions by the media. He has just worn his welcome out, in my opinion. He slapped the laptop out of the coach's hand on the sideline. He had $163,000 in fines. He wasn't speaking to the media at one point, was getting fined for that. He didn't participate in lineup announcements on the road, and he wasn't dressing with the team, and he wasn't really a part of the team. You could feel the animosity that was coming from Julius Randle, from the Knicks players, and Knicks fans. So I want to leave it up to you, everybody that's watching this video right now. Should the Knicks trade Julius Randle? Is it time to move on and build around R.J. Barrett and the young guys and Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin and Jericho Sims and Cam Reddish and Quentin Grimes? Is it time to build around the youth, or do you roll with Julius Randle for next season? Let me know where you stand. Type T for trade, or you can go down and type K for keep. And look, if a Julius Randle trade happens, I promise you, we're going to be the first Knicks YouTube channel that has a video out for you guys to watch. So hit that big red button and turn your notifications on, because the offseason, it's almost here. An NBA free agency, an NBA draft, nobody is going to cover it better than we do on Knicks Now by Chat Sports. And we're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Help us get there. Go down right now, hit that big red button, and lock us in. The first Julius Randle replacement I have is someone on the roster, an Obi Toppin. What Obi did down the stretch of the season, especially when Julius was taken out due to that quad injury, he played really, really well. He didn't play a lot of minutes, but in the 10 games he started this year, yes, only 10 times did he start. He averaged 20 points. He averaged 7 rebounds. He shot 57% from the field. He also shot 43.6% from downtown. But it wasn't just those 10 games that he played well. When Obi Toppin played more than 20 minutes per game, which happened just 17 times, that is criminal of Tom Thibodeau for someone to be a lottery pick in year 2 in the NBA, and he only played 17 times more than 20 minutes per game. That's a problem, but he played well in those games. He averaged 15 points, almost 6 rebounds, shot almost 60% from the field, and shot a respectable 33.3% from 3. If Obi Toppin can be an adequate shooter from beyond the arc, I really believe that he can average over 15 points a game in a season. It's time to trade Julius Randle and build around Obi Toppin. So I want to ask you this question. All Knicks fans, should Obi Toppin start next year? I've had a nickname for him on the show. You guys weren't too fond of it, so I'm not going to say it again because some of you called it sus. But I thought that was just his nickname and maybe a song by Travis Scott. If you know, you know. Type S for start if you want Obi Toppin to start next year, or if you think he should come off the bench, you can go down and type B for coming off the bench. Julius Randle replacement number 2. What about Christian Wood? You're going to have to make a move for him in a trade. And Jeremy, I didn't move up that trade graphic, so you're going to have to check that. Honestly, I don't even know if I checked it, so it may not be in there. But Christian Wood is a good basketball player, and he played really, really well in 2021. He averaged almost 18 points per game. He averaged over 10 rebounds a night. He shot 50% from the field and 39% from 3. He is the new wave of a power forward in the NBA. He can step out from beyond the three-point arc and be a knockdown shooter. He would provide spacing for someone like RJ Barrett to attack the rim. He would also provide spacing for Emmanuel Quickley. A Christian Wood and RJ Barrett pick and pop where Wood pops to the three-point line and you can play him at center a little bit. I really like that idea. Christian Wood came onto the scene after he was traded from Washington to Houston a couple years ago, and he showed that he can be a good player in this league. Anytime you average 18 points and 10 rebounds on 50% from the field and 40% from deep, you're a big-time player. And I would love to see him play for the New York Knicks because he's just 26 years old. He's just reaching the ceiling of the type of player he's going to be. Him with Obi Toppin, I think he could really learn. Obi could learn from a guy like Christian Wood. I think they have a similar body type, a similar play style, and a similar athleticism. But if the Knicks want to add Christian Wood, it'd have to be through a trade. And this is what I think a trade would look like. Wood is 26 years old. Remember that. He's younger than Julius Randle. So you'd have to give up, I think, a little bit to add a little bit of sweetener to the deal. So you trade Julius Randle in your first-round pick this year, but it's top 5 protected, which means if the Knicks, who right now own the 12th best odds to land the number 1 pick, move up inside the top 4, the Knicks would keep that pick, and the Rockets would then receive the Knicks' 2023 pick. But let me know what you think about this deal. Who do you think would actually be the winner of the trade? Would it be the Rockets because they potentially get a first-round pick and Julius Randle? Or would it be the Knicks because they get a younger power forward, they get rid of Julius Randle, and you get someone that's a reliable three-point shooter? I want to take the pulse of all Knicks fans right now. Type NYK for the Knicks or HOU for the Houston Rockets. Another Julius Randle replacement, and we've talked about him on the show a couple times. What about Jeremy Grant, the small forward, power forward hybrid from the Detroit Pistons? His name has been brought up in trade rumors for a while now. Back in 2020, his name was hot at the NBA trade deadline, and then in 2021, it also was hot. Or 2021 and then 2022, excuse me. And for good reason. He's a good basketball player. He averages 19 points a night, a little low on the rebounds numbers, for only 4, but he shot 36% from 3 and 43% from the field. He's an athletic slasher that would make the Knicks play with much more pace. And as we saw last year, the Knicks were better when they played a faster brand of basketball. He is a great player in the open court and on the fast break. He is an athletic, rim-running big that can stretch out to the three-point line. I mean, anytime you average almost 20 points a night, you're a good basketball player, and he has a little bit of ISO to his game that the same way Julius Randle does. The athleticism you could have with Grant, Obi, RJ, Cam Reddish, and Emmanuel Quickley, that's a fast lineup, and I like to see that for the New York Knicks. What about a familiar name and a familiar face? Someone's face that looks just like another person's face on this world. What about Marcus Morris? Remember when he played for the Knicks before the Knicks traded him to the Los Angeles Clippers for that first-round pick, which eventually became Emmanuel Quickley? It was a great trade at the time, but he was a badass for the Knicks. And this past year for the Los Angeles Clippers, he was a badass. He's a good defender. He brings that mental toughness, and a player like him is just built to play in the mecca of basketball in Madison Square Garden. 15.5 points per game last year, 4.5 rebounds, 43.5% from the field, and almost 37% from deep. Marcus Morris is the type of guy that can bring you home in the fourth quarter when you need a bucket. Just throw it to him on the elbow and let him work. I also think he would instill a winning brand of style of basketball to the young guys on this roster. I like the way he plays. I like the physicalness he uses and the mentality that he has. He's not a fake tough guy. I don't like hearing people say that. This guy is from Philly. He's tough, and he played really well and was the face of the franchise, really, for the Knicks when he was on the Knicks a couple of years ago. But what about this question? Who would you rather have on the Knicks next year? Would it be Julius Randle or Marcus Morris? Go down in the comments section, type JR for Julius Randle, or if you think the Morris twin, the better twin, would be better, and you'd like him to see him on the Knicks once again, you can go down in the comments section and type MM. One thing you don't want to pass up or choose something else is our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. The NBA playoffs are underway, and they're starting to get spicy. Round 2 is here, and you can bet on those games over at BetUS. Just go to chatsports.com/bet, plug in the promo code chat125. When you do those two things and you deposit $100, they will match that with the best deposit bonus on the internet of 125%. So deposit $100 at chatsports.com/bet while using the promo code chat125. they'll match that, and you'll have 225 big ones in your account to bet with and game with during the NBA playoffs. I promise you won't regret it. Hit them up, betuschatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. What about a rookie? What about replacing Julius Randle in the draft with a rookie? What about Jeremy Sochan? The power forward kind of reminds me of Sean Marion a little bit. Doesn't have that same ugly flick jumper that he has, but he's really a do-it-all forward. He's good in the fast break. He's a good defender. He can defend multiple positions. He's athletic, and he has a little bit of playmaking prowess to his game. Seth Greenberg, an NBA draft analyst on ESPN, he broke down Sochan and about the possibility of the Knicks drafting him, and this is what he had to say. I really like him. The size, skill, versatility, development, and he's got an edge to him. They're going to have to decide what they're going to do with RJ Barrett. Sochan has a versatility about him and a monster upside as a 3-4 combo. With all the hassle with Julius, where's their depth at that position? Sochan can shoot the ball and is a very good passer. He rebounds his position. His upside is great. He can put it on the floor with skill, has a pretty release, just a really good feel for a young player and a competitive spirit that I really like. He's a legit 6'9" player that has a floor game and plays multiple positions. He can step out and shoot, beat you off the bounce. He's a guy I think is really undervalued. I like Seth's breakdown of him. He does a great job with the NBA draft every year. And when you look at the numbers that Sochan put up at Baylor this past year, he only played in about 25 minutes per night, but he did a little bit of everything. Averaged 9 points, almost 7 rebounds, shot 47% from the floor, and a little bit low, 29% from 3. But he does have a nice shot that I think that the more reps he gets, he's going to be a better shooter because it's not an ugly release. It kind of reminds me of Obi Toppin. He just needs a little bit more confidence, a little bit more reps because the release looks good. And if you have a good form on your jumper, if you add more reps in practice, you're going to end up making more shots in the NBA if you put in more work. But what about this? We just listed 5 guys I think the Knicks could find in a trade or the draft to replace Julius Randle. But the question is, will Julius be on the Knicks next year? Predict it for me. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I don't know, but I hope it's no. So I'm going to go down in the comments section and type my N. While you're down in the comments section, click on the description of this video or look for the comment where I have my Twitter. I'll put the link to that in the comments and description. Click on it. Give me a follow. I'm trying to get to 2,000 followers. I tweet about the Knicks all the time. I bleed orange and blue. So let's talk Knicks hoops over on Twitter. Give me a follow at @MarshallGreen_.